Hi everybody, it's me, Ashton here, and today I'm going to be sharing my knitting opinions slash hot takes, but they're not really hot takes, so take what you will. Perfect. So if you see me looking down, I have this notebook here with my handy dandy notes. So I'm not ignoring you, I promise. So my number one knitting hot take, if you will, is acrylic isn't that bad. Especially with knitting, I feel like people are a lot more picky with the fibers that they're knitting with. Now, I understand that to an extent because if you're going to spend 50 plus hours on a sweater, you want it to be nice. But for those people that are just starting out, like me, and they don't have a ton of money, just be dumping into a sweater that's probably not even going to fit them, or it's just not going to be the best quality because they've never knit a sweater before. So I personally will be knitting my first sweater probably out of acrylic. And eventually I'd love to get some super fun wool and other things like that to knit my sweater with, but I'm not going to spend all that money when I'm not that experienced. Also, acrylic lasts a really long time, so I'm not going to be worried as much about the whole process if it's just works better for me in my situation. A lot of people say it's too hot to wear, which could be true depending on the area that you live in. I live in Idaho. It's cold 90% of the time, I feel like. So I am not that worried about it being a warm garment. Of course, if I'm like knitting a tank top or something, I don't want to be knitting it in like super hot fibers. That makes sense. I'll splurge for something cotton and linen, you know? But I feel like with knitting especially, they're very policey about the fibers that you use, which I do understand to an extent, but like let people knit with what they want to knit with. It is not that big of a deal. It's not going to affect you. You're not having to wear it. So like why are we freaking out about if someone uses acrylic, okay? My second hot take is purling's not that bad. People hate purling, and I don't think it's that bad. Of course, I wouldn't want to do a project that's only purling, but it's not that bad. People are dramatic about it. It is, in my opinion, not as fun to do as the knit stitch. I do prefer the knit stitch, but I don't think it's that bad. Which I don't know if that's even controversial, but I don't think it's that bad. My third point is that color palettes are yours to pick. I feel like a lot of people, especially in the knitting community, either go one extreme or the other, and then they judge the other group. So, like, there's the neutrals group that knit everything in neutrals, which is totally fine. If you love neutrals, knit in neutrals. And then there's the other side that like love these neon super fun colors. And I feel like the two sides fight against like what's right. But really what's right is whatever you're gonna wear, whatever you're gonna enjoy knitting. So I just don't understand why there's discourse between the two. If I want to knit only in browns and beiges, then like let me knit in browns and beiges and let me have fun. But I'm personally more of a color person, and I love those like neon yellows and pinks and all those fun colors, but I'm not gonna get mad at someone for knitting something that they're gonna wear more than what I would like. Why doesn't matter? If they don't want neons, don't push it on them, and if they're not a neutral person, then don't make them a neutral person. My next point is I personally think metal needles are better. I do have a set of wooden needles. They're not fancy. And then I do have some metal needles. I personally prefer metal needles. It is easier for me to knit on because I'm not fighting the wood, if that makes sense. It's just easier. It glides a lot faster for me and it's easier. Wood, people say, is better for beginners just because your stitches don't slide as much. I personally think that that's meh. I just prefer metal needles personally. And I think a lot of people do, but then there's a lot of people that are like die-hard wood needle people. And I'm not one of those people. I do have a small set of ChiaoGoo twist shorties, and they're my favorite needles. Eventually, one day, I'll get the big set of interchangeable ChiaoGoo needles, but today is not that day. So I will say the worst of the worst needles. I accidentally purchased some plastic interchangeable needles, and they are the worst. They might be better if I was knitting on a bigger gauge, but I did try to knit with like I think it was like a 2.5, and it was just like bendy and just not a great experience for me. So I just, yeah, that didn't work for me. I switched needles. I probably will not use that set unless it's like an emergency. Like if I really have no other choices, but I want to knit, I'll use that set. But I'm saving up for for some interchangeable metal needles because that's just my preference. If you prefer wooden needles, prefer wooden needles. But if you like the plastic ones, I'm sorry, you should try one of the other two because they're significantly better, in my opinion. You can have yours. It's okay. My next opinion, this one is kind of hot take. This knitting community is judgy. I am newer to knitting. I started knitting a couple years ago, half knit a couple scarves, and then in October last year, I just started really getting into it, and I knit some socks. I'm still pretty new. I'm working on socks again. I haven't done a sweater or anything yet, so like don't think I'm an expert or anything, but I am just having fun. Like, some of the community is so nice and supportive and like do what you want, knit what you want. Like it's yours. It's your craft. Like you don't even have to want to wear it. Like if you just enjoy the process of making it and just give it to someone or frog it and reuse the yarn, like you don't have to knit just for the end product. I feel like knitting should be more for the process of knitting versus like receiving an end product. Of course, receiving an end product is really fun and like the best part, like one of the best parts about knitting, but the process is really important and I feel like it shouldn't be ignored. But I feel like the community is super judgy of like, oh, well, I don't like that kind of yarn, or I don't purl, I knit backwards, or they're just like constantly pushing it on other people of like, this is how you do it, blah, blah. And like there's so many ways to do it. Knitting is done in hundreds of different ways. Like it doesn't have to be done the way you're doing it, and I don't understand why we're pushing it on other people. I feel this particularly as a new person. I probably just haven't found my corner of like the knitting community that I really vibe with yet, so that could be a me problem. But I do personally feel like the knitting community is more on the judgmental side. My next point is that knitting is not a race. A lot of people, I feel like, feel this pressure to be constantly producing these finished garments or these finished knitting projects because of social media, and they feel like they need to get it done. Of course, like pacing yourself and like trying to get a garment done in a certain time period could be helpful for you, but I don't think it has to be a race. If someone takes 15 hours to knit this thing and it takes you 50, like who cares? As long as your end product you enjoy and you had a fun time doing it, then it doesn't matter how fast you knit. Like I don't know. People are just really like, it's a race, and I don't understand it because my love of knitting is through the process of what I'm doing. So if I'm like racing through it, it's just not as fun. It's just like enjoying the process and like learning each step and just having fun with it. And I feel like people are taking this so seriously, but really it's a hobby that you get to have fun with and you get to create with. And it doesn't have to be timed. You can time yourself and make like a little competition with yourself, but I don't think it should be a competition with other people, or you have to knit so fast so you can post this item. I think you just knit to knit and post your process along the way. And if someone doesn't want to see your work in progress of the same sweater 25 times, then that person doesn't have to follow you. Like, I personally enjoy seeing, like, oh, today I got 2 inches done on this. Like, that's awesome. Show me how much you get done tomorrow. I love that. But I don't know. People are great, but it just doesn't have to be a race. So my next point is that paid knitting patterns are worth it. And if you don't think that particular pattern is worth it, don't buy it and find a free alternative. These people that are making paid patterns put a lot of time and effort into them, and if you buy this product and you think that it wasn't worth that money, if you think that like, oh, I bought this and this pattern doesn't make much sense and it just doesn't work, then I feel like it's different. But most paid products, especially like even things like the Petite Knit Sophie scarf, everyone's like, it's so simple, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Okay, so then you can just find your alternative. There's plenty of free alternative patterns. Right now, personally, I don't have a ton of disposable income, so I've been knitting off of free patterns. But when I have extra income, I am happy to pay for a pattern because the person put effort into that. And I feel like people, yes, it sucks that you have to pay for patterns sometimes, but like, if you appreciate their art and if you want to like replicate what they did, what's the harm in paying for a pattern? Like, and most of the time patterns aren't that expensive. So I understand you don't want to pay like $20-$30 for a pattern, but it's not $20-$30. Most of the time it's like $6, $10, $12. Like, it's not crazy amounts for a knitting pattern. So I just think we should support our community by purchasing these patterns. If you want to make that, or if you think that's cool, go ahead and purchase it. If not, don't. Like, no one's forcing you to do that. No one's forcing you. So my next point is you don't have to knit something just because it is popular. I feel like there's this weird like pressure, especially again from social media, that you get where everyone is just knitting the same thing. I see a million Sophie scarves, or I see a million halibut sweaters, or the porcelain sweater, and I think they're all beautiful, but if I am not going to personally wear it, or I don't have a person I want to knit that for, I'm not going to be knitting that garment personally. Don't want to put all this time and effort into something that I am not going to enjoy. Maybe if I just want to do it for the process, I'll do it and then frog it at the end because I don't want to waste all that yarn. Or I'll gift it to someone I think will appreciate it. But I just don't think you have to knit something because it's popular. Like, if you don't like the halibut sweater, don't knit it. It's that easy. And people, I feel like, get this weird pressure of like, oh, everyone else is knitting this, so I should knit this so that I'm in the cool group, which is fine. Like, you're in a cool group no matter what. You're knitting, and everyone should appreciate that you're knitting, and it doesn't matter what you are knitting, okay? My next point is knitting and crochet are both great. I know how to do both. I have crocheted for a longer period of time. I have more recently converted more into the knitting realm because it is easier on my wrists personally. And I just enjoy the finished products that I get. But they both are great things and they both have different pros and cons to each other. So like knitting uses less yarn. Knitting makes a more flexible and thinner garment. It's just better for garments in my opinion. There are some beautiful crochet garments though. And I'm not against crochet garments. I just prefer the look and feel of a knit garment for me personally. But there's plenty of people out there that prefer the look and feel of crochet. I also think that knit, like amigurumi things, is just not, they don't look as cute as the crochet amigurumi. The crochet, I think, just works better for more structured items, such as like amigurumi items. Um, in my opinion, you can do whatever you want. Like, but I think they're both great crafts, and people, I think, put them against each other, and they're always fighting, especially if someone's like, oh, what are you knitting and you're crocheting? Or like, what are you crocheting and you're knitting? Like, it's not that big of a deal, to me at least. If someone mislabels it, you can kindly just be like, oh, it's not like crocheting, I'm knitting, but they're both really cool like crafts, and I can explain the differences to you if you would like to know. But I don't think you should be rude about it. There's a lot of people that just don't know that there's differences, and I don't think it's fair to be rude to people who just don't know. Um, but they're both great, and I think we should like enjoy and flourish in both. And I think that they shouldn't be pitted against each other. I think they're both wonderful fiber crafts. Fiber arts, sorry. And my last point here is you don't have to monetize knitting. If you don't want to write patterns, and if you don't want to post online and try to earn money, like, knitting is about having fun, enjoying the process. It's not about making money. And I think we need to like realize that our hobbies don't have to make money if we don't want them to. Of course, if you think you want to design patterns and sell them and like do all that stuff, that's amazing. But I feel like some people like feel like they need permission to not have to make money off of their hobbies. All the time you hear people say like, oh, that's so good, you could sell that, you should start a shop, blah 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 blah. And you just have to sit there and be like, I just do this for my enjoyment, and it doesn't have to make money. It can just be for fun for me. Like, just because you enjoy watching movies, it doesn't mean you have to become a movie reviewer. Like, it's the same with knitting. So that's my final hot take, if you'll take that. I don't really think they're hot takes. It's more just my knitting opinions. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. Please let me know your thoughts down below, or if you have any more knitting opinions or knitting hot takes you would like to share, let me know down below. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!